Hey, there's a kid outside who wants some advice. He said his parents sent him.
Alright, I'll see if I can help. Send him in.
Hey, thanks for seeing me in such short notice. My parents say I have a problem.
What do they say?
They say I spent too much. I got my allowance yesterday of $10 and I spent it all on gum. I thought it was a good idea.
So what, you bought 10 packs?
Yeah, so what?
You should think about budgeting and how you could save some money for later.
Will you teach me?
Sure. Let's take a walk. The initiation has now begun. This is the initial step, step 1. You gotta assess yourself, analyze your financial state, and don't worry, sometimes it's good to be a cheapskate. Find out your current situation. I'm the one who's gonna tell you the reason. Do you need a stable home? If so, forget the new car with the chrome. You gotta know what is and what's not a necessity. And listen right here to this MC. Step 2 is the next step that's due. This step is about setting goals, which will help you turn your own goals. Do you have an annual amount you wish to earn, but don't return to your old ways? Begging for money in front of cafes. Goals are our key. What do you want to be? Maybe you want to set a goal about your future career. You don't know how much you can do within a year. You may be young, but it ain't early to start now. You gotta make up your mind. Prevent your life from making a rewind. Personal goals are vital. This involves things from being waffle to your survival. You gotta be specific to the point. For example, this is from my viewpoint. You could have saved $50 for yourself because you gotta bring oneself on top. If you want, you could have only given $10 away. Might not affect you today, but giving $10 away every single day would add up. Setting goals on how much you'll save this year will prevent the thought of going on the streets from becoming a fear.
You want to know the art of budgeting? To your knowledge, it'll only be adding. It's a simple formula. You gotta assess your financial situation, young fella. You gotta set goals in order to budget. You ain't got the dough to buy a fancy gadget. Before you buy, you always gotta check your wallet. You gotta make sure you're not spending more than you're earning, otherwise you'll get a debt that you'll be regretting. Always check your progress. Practice makes perfect. This will make you an expert on this subject. Don't worry, I ain't bluffing. You'll learn the art of budgeting.
Step 3 is all about creating a budget, and I know that you'll love it. Initially, you'll need to find your projected income and really see what you could become. Think of all the expenses you will incur. If some of your expenses are a blur, then set aside some extra money. So you'll be able to pay your unexpected fees, sonny. Analyze where your money will be spent and make sure to account for every single cent. Make sure to have time for it and anything you want to get off the bat. For example, borrowing $100, let's not make that money stack. Pay it off within a quick time, every single dime. How much will you spend within a certain time? Don't procrastinate, not like you're living a life. Step 4 is about modern plans about oneself. Discover your personal saving and investing pattern. On the money, you know who governs. That's you. Scratching your head. It ain't time to go to bed. Analyze how much you really save. Next time, think about tipping the bar before you can shave. Investing is good spending. That shouldn't be baffling as the money returns with interest to you. The money invested, once subdued. See how you spend. Do you spend at certain times? More than enough, dropping that. Actually analyze how much you spend. Just keep up with the latest trend.
You want to know the art of budgeting? To your knowledge, it'll only be adding. It's a simple formula. You gotta assess your financial situation, young fella. You gotta set goals in order to budget. You ain't got the dough to buy a fancy gadget. Before you buy, you always gotta check your wallet. You gotta make sure you're not spending more than you're earning, otherwise you'll get a debt that you'll be regretting. Always check your progress. Practice makes perfect. This will make you an expert on this subject. Don't worry, I ain't bluffing. You'll learn the art of budgeting.
Step 5 is all about comparison. Now look how much you actually spend and compare that to what your buddy said you could spend. That's right there the big difference. But no, I'm not done giving my guidance. See how much necessary spending doesn't appear in your budget, but that will actually be the puppet. You will learn to control your spending, and along the route, don't do any bending. Finally, it's our final step. Yes, I'm back to check up at your doorstep. After a few months, it's time to review. Check progress and get a future life review. Maybe you need to spend some more. In certain areas, that's alright as long as your spending doesn't outscore your income. That is vital to your survival. So you want to buy some Pokemon cards? Help yourself out by buying credit card rewards. Yes, when you have some spending, you must subtract in other areas to prevent bending of the rules. It should be taught in all schools.
You want to know the art of budgeting? To your knowledge, it'll only be adding. It's a simple formula. You gotta assess your financial situation, young fella. You gotta set goals in order to budget. You ain't got the dough to buy a fancy gadget. Before you buy it, you always gotta check your wallet. You gotta make sure you're not spending more than you're earning, otherwise you'll get a debt that you'll be regretting. Always check your progress. Practice makes perfect. This will make you an expert on this subject. Don't worry, I ain't bluffing. You'll learn the art of budgeting. So kid, you know the art of budgeting now?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let me quiz you then. What's the first phase in budgeting? It's got something to do with assessing.
You gotta assess your personal and financial situation. This means you gotta take action.
What do you do next? It falls under the same context.
Next, you gotta make goals to show. These you have to make sure they flow.
What kind of goals do you need to set? This ain't no Russian roulette.
You gotta check your income. Don't spend more than you're earning, and act with wisdom.
What do you gotta monitor? You ain't a storybook writer.
You gotta monitor your spending pattern. This is something you gotta learn.
What's the final piece of the puzzle? Without this, you can't win the battle.
You gotta review your progress and analyze spending. With all these new tools, you'll be ascending.
Good job, kid. We taught you well.
Thanks, guys.
No problem, kid.
It is our wish to fly with Porter Airlines to New York City, where we can get a more in-depth experience on the world of business and financial literacy.